Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. Have you ever thought about your life like your closet? That's how I see my life. My life is my closet. I keep the classic pieces, I clear out what doesn't fit me, and every now and then, I add something that completely changes my look. Today, I want to talk about the remix in my life, my closet, your remix, how you can build a strong foundation so you can reinvent yourself over and over again, fearlessly. See, in your closet, you have those foundation pieces. They make you feel good, a really good suit that fits you well, and so you keep it. Even when you clean other things out that don't fit and they're fast fashion or they just don't fit you anymore, but then those pieces that you wear over and over again, they're just like the skill sets in your life. They're your foundation. For me, my foundation started just as a little girl when I was training to be a world-class gymnast. I wanted to go to the Olympics. I wanted to have a name out there. I remember there was a gymnast named Mary Lou Retton, and I wanted to be just like her. And so I got up really early and I trained before I went to school, and then went to school and went back to the gym after school. At a very young age, I learned how to wake up early, set a goal for the day, work hard through the day, and then get to sleep so I could do it all over again. I was building a foundation in hard work as a child. And then, I grew up and I had an injury and I didn't get to live that dream out. And then I came to Atlanta, Georgia to go to Spelman College from New York City. It was at Spelman College that I built a whole new foundation, learning about who I was as a black woman, what I wanted my voice to represent, what I wanted my education to be all about. And so I listened to what everyone in my family said. Mo, you talk a lot. You should be a lawyer. And so I said, okay, what did I know at 22? I knew that I wanted to be a lawyer. I knew that I loved the entertainment industry, and how was I going to put those things together? Because a foundation that I built in college was interning for 4 years at a record company here in Atlanta. So my mentor said, go to college and try to be an entertainment lawyer, and that's exactly what I did. And I went to law school, and I did well in law school. The foundation, working hard, waking up early in the morning, going to bed late, getting the work done. And I graduated, and I got a job in a big law firm that had an entertainment law practice. And I got to go straight into entertainment law. And I represented some great acts, and I got to know the music scene in a way that I had never thought I would. Then I got married, and I had a child. And that changed everything all over again. I was here in Atlanta when September 11th happened, and my father worked at the building across the street, and I wasn't particularly happy in my job. I wasn't really a great mom, and I wasn't really successful in my marriage. And I felt kind of stuck. But I had loans, and, well, everybody wanted me to be a lawyer. And I had set up some good foundations, right? I had gone to college. I had done the things that everybody wanted me to do, but I was not happy. I didn't really love just sitting and practicing law all day. I wasn't an entertainment lawyer anymore. I was doing technology because it was the 90s and technology was booming, and that's what I was doing. And then the phone call came, and the buildings came down, and a lot of people I knew suffered a lot in that, and including my father, who now lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and has been retired here for many years. And thank God, he picked up and moved to a place where he could feel safe and he could get away from that. And I felt like I needed a move. I needed to make a big move in my life. I'd always been fearful of it. I'd always been listening to what people had said about, you talk a lot, you're a good lawyer, and you should stay doing it. I was getting rewarded doing it financially, but not at all inside of me. So there came that day that one person on your job says the very wrong thing to you, and you're already teetering. You're already on the edge. How many people have been there? You're on the edge. Let one person say one more thing to me out of pocket, and I am out of here. And that happened. And so I said, I'm leaving today. I'm not going to work here anymore. And they said, what are you going to do? You're not going to be a lawyer? And I said, no. And then I called my family. And some in my family said, you're going to leave the law? I said, I am. I wasn't really sure what I was going to do, but you know what? I had a foundation. I had things in my closet that I had been keeping that were good for me, that fit me well, that I pulled out when I needed, and I knew I could use that foundation, my skill sets, all the things I knew, how to speak, how to write, how to research, how to do the things that I knew, I could just do them for myself. And so I left. I didn't know what the next thing was going to be, but I had this baby who I wanted to pick up before the cleaning lady was closing the daycare. I wanted to get out of a marriage that was not working for me at all. Big moves, because that thing that happened pushed me into dealing with myself. And I was the only person who could make that change. But you know what? I felt good about the foundation, about the good suit that fit me well, that I was confident in. So I took it out and I started telling people, I'm on the market. I don't know what I'm going to do next. Recruiters started calling. I'm not going back to the law. That's not what I want to do. And I end up at a friend's house for a get-together in about 2002. It was November. And I run into a guy I used to date in college. Not particularly smart. That was, what he was doing astounded me. I said, hey, what are you up to? He said, I'm building houses. I was like, what? He said, I'm building houses. I couldn't imagine that he could build a house. And I said, well, I'd like to see that. So he said, why don't you come out tomorrow? And I said, I sure will. And I got there, and guess what he was building? A mini subdivision. And I said to myself, I know if he can do it, so can I. So I hopped on over to the Barnes & Nobles, the bookstores that used to be open, and I bought a book called Building Houses for Dummies. And I called him and I said, you think I could come out to your site next week and just hang out and take a look? He was like, sure, I'm probably not going to be there, but you can go. So I got in my car, put on something good, and I went to that site. And there was a gentleman there who was his general contractor. His name is Lorenzo. And I walked up to Lorenzo and I said, do you mind if I just follow along with what you're doing? And he said, not at all. And so I got up out of my car and I went with Lorenzo, and I got a little bit more than just asking questions, but into it. Well, what does that mean when you put the rebar in? And what does that mean when you're measuring for the systems? And what does that mean? And I started going in my book in the car, writing notes. This is what that means. Because guess what I knew how to do? Research and write and read. And so I used those skills. 3 months later, I bought a piece of land and I built my first house. It was called Ivory Properties, LLC was my company. I'm a lawyer, so I knew how to put it together. I knew what to do in it, and I was ready to build my first house. I had kept my credit good, so going to a bank and asking for what I needed, I had the foundational blocks. I got the money, and I built the first house. When I got to that closing, after I did the sales and purchase agreement, and I saw the check that came after that closing, I knew I was going to do this many more times, okay? And so Ivory Properties lasted for 5 to 6 years. My daughter was young and in school, so I was available to be the kind of mother that I wanted to be, which was to be the second-grade mom and come with the donuts at the end of the day and give the teachers the recognition that they deserved. And I finally got what I had been looking for with all my education and all of the foundational blocks that I had built, which was flexibility. I just wanted to be the captain of my own journey. Just like I choose the things in my closet and then I throw away what didn't work, I wanted to do that in my life. And so I took the law and I put it aside. Maybe I'd come back to it one day, but right now I was doing something else. I was Mo the Builder. And I built about 20 to 35 houses over on the south side of Atlanta and bought and sold to families and did things that other builders weren't doing because I was building for women, because that's what I wanted. I wanted somebody to give me what I wanted, so I wanted to give it back to somebody else. And it was an amazing time. My daughter was little. She used to climb up on the rooftops, and we used to just have so much fun. And guess what ended up happening? Lorenzo came to work for me. He said, I like what you're doing, Mo, and I'm going to come work for you. And we still work together to this day. And then the real estate crash. It happened. What do? It's happening. You're going to embrace it, or you're going to run from it. It's happening. So I said, okay, let me start making good choices with my legal foundation, with my business acumen. Let me start getting rid of some things, saving things that are important, and what next? So people had always heard me talking and doing things around town. I never stopped doing service. I never stopped, being a mentor to kids and whatever, and I got asked to be on the radio. Hey, Mo, do you want to be a morning show host on V103? Sure. Why not? Some people will go like, what does that have to do with being a lawyer or a builder? Everything. They're all connected. My foundation is in all of those things. So you use your foundation and nothing looks completely different. You just choose exactly what you want to do. So then the radio was so much fun. And I ran into people that I had been representing from my entertainment law days. Wow, Mo, you're here now. That's amazing. Let me introduce you to somebody a friend of mine who does TV work. They might want to talk to you. Okay. And then all of a sudden now I'm doing legal analyst work on television. Never in any of my journals would you ever have seen, I want to be a radio host. I want to be a television news person. I want to give commentary on legal cases of the day. You would never have seen that, but it fits my foundation. So back into my closet again. And I get out now the really nice suits, right? And I'm on TV and I'm doing all of that. And I'm on the radio and I'm building and using all of the skill sets that I have. You have to move the clutter out of the way to get to the things that are for you. In your closet and in your life. So the television thing is fantastic. I'm on the radio in Washington, D.C. Obama is president. Things couldn't be better. And I get a phone call, and someone says, would you like to teach at Howard Law School? You think this sounds like it can't be real. It is real. This all happened to me. This is from one thing to the next. Cleaning out the closet, using the clothes that fit well, working off my foundation. I go, I don't know how to teach. What do you want me to teach? I've never taught before. I never even thought about teaching before. What does it entail? Well, you can fix it. You can make it whatever you want it to be. We need an entertainment law professor. Well, that's perfect, because I've been an entertainment law practitioner, so I can definitely teach about entertainment law. And so that's what I did. And soon after that, the radio job, fired. What are you going to do now? What do you feel like when you get fired? Wait, how are they going to fire me? Well, they did. And I said to myself, so glad. I need a break. And since I negotiated that agreement, I'll be also getting a check. Foundational steps, right? That only happens when you move fear out of the way. So that all of the things that you have already built in your closet, in your foundational set of skills, can start activating themselves. What do you have to lose by moving fear out of the way? You You yourself are the only person keeping you from decluttering your closet and doing whatever you want to do. So then after that, I had no job. And I was okay with that until whatever door was going to open up next. Then the next door was a white woman sitting next to me at a legal education class that I had to take, that at the end of the day, we forgot to introduce ourselves, and on the way out, I said, I'm Mo, and she said, I'm Wendy, and I said, well, what do you do? And she said, I'm the dean at Georgia State Law School. I told her what I had been doing, and she said, how about you build me a program? I said, I'd love to. I have the skills. I have the foundation to do that. So when someone came along 2 years ago and asked me to run for office, that didn't seem like out of pocket at all. Not for me, because I've moved fear out of the way. I just went right into the closet and I took out the skills again, the foundation I had in all the things that I did, so that I could have more fun. I could do the things that I know I am meant to do. And so does running for office sound at all related to being a builder or being on the radio, news, or teaching in the classroom? Absolutely. Because I'm teaching in every one of those things that I'm doing. So for you, I want you to think about the thing that you want to do that people say that's not connected to your skill set at all. You're a nurse. So what? You can read. You can do anything you want to do if you move the fear out of the way and you put the confidence in, you put that jacket that makes you feel so good and powerful, and you go ahead and you do it. So today, clean out your closet a little bit. Next week, think about your foundational items, the foundation that you already have and how you're going to use it. And then this month, work on your plan to open up new doors and start whatever it is that you want to do. Your closet is your life. Hang up the things that make you feel good, get rid of the things that don't work anymore, and do the remix. Remember when Beyonce jumped on Megan Thee Stallion's song Savage, and it felt like a brand new song, right? It felt like we didn't get rid of the original. We just put something new in there. Just like that foundational item in your closet, you put a new scarf on, it feels brand new. Just like your skill set, you get a new profession, you get a new job, you feel so much better. You're utilizing everything that has come up in your life. So go ahead. Be strong in your foundation. Move fear out of the way, and then go ahead and do whatever it is you're supposed to be doing. If it's one thing, two things, three things, four things, because your life is your closet. Thank you.